everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus. Hope everyone's doing well. Hey, just wanted to do a real quick, informative video. And, you know, I look at all my videos and the many comments I get from a lot of people and so forth, and I kind of try to figure what's the most important question that I get, what's the most, I mean, all the questions I get, all the comments I get, I appreciate, and every question is important to me, no matter how trivial it is. So if you're new to my channel, welcome aboard. If you're a subscriber and you have a question, don't ever think you're bothering me. Don't ever think it's trivial or a stupid question, because it's not. And a lot of times it's a question that people have been wondering about themselves. So just really thinking of what's one of the most common questions I have, and also I tie it into one of the most common reasons why people's Coleus don't grow. And I'm going to get into this because I have my seeds listed on eBay, my Jim's Coleus. So head over to Jim's Coleus on eBay. I have a listing. I just listed. I'm constantly upgrading them as I pack them. So I have about 30 packs listed right now. So get your packs of seeds. Basically, the Coleus you see featured on my channel, most of them you'll be getting seeds from most of those. But one of the most common reasons why people who are maybe new to this don't get good results is the way they plant Coleus seeds. And also, there's a few caveats I want to bring up where people tend to overseed their Coleus because the seeds are so tiny. And I always use the analogy of the Saint Bernard puppy. When you go into a breeder, a puppy, and you're looking to get a puppy and you see this little beautiful Saint Bernard. I use a Saint Bernard as an example because obviously everybody knows that little Saint Bernard cute puppy that you're holding in the palm of your hand will not be that tiny little palm of your hand cute little 4 or 6 pound or whatever pound puppy, Saint Bernard puppy long. And you got to think of that also when you're planting your Coleus seeds. The amount of seeds that you're planting in your pot, look at the pot, depending on what you're using, pods, pots, planters. Look at your planter. If you're a homeowner, you're somebody who bought seeds from me, or you have your own Coleus seeds, or you have seeds from last year that you bought from me, I appreciate all that. Really look at your pot and decide how many Coleus you want to put in there. Because you have a planter, say, this size, and you have these tiny little Coleus seeds, so you're tending to like, oh wow, I have all this room in these tiny seeds, and you put 100 Coleus seeds in this big, related to the seeds, this big pot. But eventually, those 100 Coleus seeds are going to be a huge, overgrown mess, and you're going to end up having to trim or transplant those Coleus because 100 seeds in a planter are way too much. Which is why, if you've been following along, why I start them in pods and I let them grow and I transfer them into nursery pots, and then eventually once they get fairly mature and colored, I can see what I have, the colors, the type, and then I transplant those into the related pots, the pots that I decide to sell at the farmer's market, because I know at this point this window box planter will ideally only hold 4 or 3 Coleus, or this 8-inch hanging basket, 4 Coleus are the ideal amount of Coleus to grow. So always remember that. But I'm going to do a quick fun video on just show you the number one reason why people do not get good results when you plant your own Coleus from seed. And especially for people who purchase my seeds, I really appreciate that. So I want to make sure that you get the most out of the experience and you don't feel that you don't have a green thumb or not. Coleus are so easy to grow and they're a lot of fun. And it's such a rewarding thing because you can grow so many of them and give them to friends, or maybe do a little garage sale at your house and sell them that way. Go to your local church and see if they have a craft fair and sell them there. It's just so much you could do with these beautiful plants, and people really enjoy them. So, all right, so I'm going to show you a little fun thing I got to make my selling experience on Jim's Coleus more fun. So head over to Jim's Coleus on eBay, get your seeds. If you're in a sunbelt area where you don't have a frost, and you can grow your Coleus all year long, you're so lucky. So you can grow them right away. But if I'm in New Jersey, this is winter, fall and winter now. I'm not going to be growing. I'm not going to be sowing my Coleus until February. You can take these, you get them, take a look at them and so forth, but put them in a cool, dark closet until spring, and you can start growing. We'll be posting videos on how to do that. So. Coleus seeds in general can last 5 years. I don't sell Coleus seeds that are more than a year old. I have fresh seeds every year, and so the seeds that you get are going to be fresh. You'll get about 6 varieties in Ziploc marked bags, several hundred Coleus seeds total. So, and you'll be helping out a great cause. I'm always doing fund drives. I have a Wounded Warriors. I'm sorry, I have a Wounded Warriors fund drive going on right now on Instagram, and money I receive from YouTube and from the sales of my seeds and the farmers market and everything. I just constantly make fund drives up, and I'm always giving money to those organizations. So thank you. When you make a purchase, a portion of that's going to these causes. So all right, so let's go and show you. I'll show you the number one reason why people fail. Or don't get good results, or their Coleus don't grow when they plant the seeds. Okay, so to make it a little more enjoyable, like I have enough time, I got one of these. I love medieval movies. I love like the early English stories about the king, the monarchy, the early 1400s, the Vikings, and all sorts of shows like that. I really enjoy watching them. The Last Kingdom is a great movie about King Alfred and so forth, and up through Victoria, Queen Victoria, and so forth. And I always admired how writing letters and so forth was it was such a craft to them. So I decided to get myself one of these wax sealing kits. And they're a lot of fun. You get different colored wax, and you have a little mini cauldron here. You melt your wax, and we're gonna make a little wax seal. Now I just ordered a custom Jim's Coleus of Coleus wax sealer, but I haven't gotten it yet. So I have this one here. They come in all different styles of stamps and so forth. So I got a little Tree of Life stamp, and we're gonna do. I've been practicing. I've done a couple, but what's nice about this is every single one of them is unique, just like the Coleus. You can grow 20 Kong Coleus, and every one of them will be a little different. You're gonna always get some kind of variety. So let's have some fun. Let's do a stamp sealer. So if you buy my seeds on Jim's Coleus on eBay, you'll be getting this wonderful seed seal. So you just melt your wax, make a little circle. Let's sit and press down hard and lift. Let's take a look. That's a lot of fun, and make it very enjoyable to sell my seeds on Jim's Coleus. A lot of fun, a little something different. So, and also you can obviously use this when you're writing letters, if you want to send someone a letter, and that's a nice touch. Some people put string, little burlap type of string on the end and so forth, or a little ribbon. You can pretty much do anything with these, and they come with all different types, all different color waxes, all different colors and so forth. So it's a lot of fun, a little different. Been practicing different colors, and they're all different. Every one of them are different. So go to Jim's Coleus on eBay, get your seeds, get ready for the spring. Get your seeds now, get ready for your spring. All right, everybody, let's start first things first. Remember, Coleus seeds are very, very tiny. They're like poppy seeds. And I like to use these cheap, the white paper plates, the uncoated ones. And then when I decide this is when you're sowing your Coleus seeds, I like to put them out here, kind of shake them out, separate them. Also, 90% of the seed chaff I get out. So when you buy seeds from me, they'll come in these Ziploc baggies, and they'll come in these small Ziploc baggies, and that creates a little bit of static cling, and it separates the seed chaff. And when you tap them out of the bag, you'll get your seeds here, and the white paper plate just adds a nice contrast. You can really easily see your Coleus seeds. So if you're not familiar with Coleus seeds, here they are. They're tiny, round little fellas. Not too much unlike poppy seeds that you get on your bagel. Very, very tiny. And remember the St. Bernard analogy. These little tiny seeds are going to become these giant Coleus. So always remember that when you're planting your seeds. All right, this is just basics. Coleus seeds need three things. They need light, they need moisture, and they need warmth. So you're in your house, you're taking care of the warmth, 71, 75, 71 degrees, 70 degrees. Even if you keep your house at like 68, they'll still germinate because you're going to keep them by a bright window. But you want to make sure that it's warm. Moisture. You need whatever medium you're using. I'm going to use this little pot, as I normally use the seed pods. The seed pods are naturally moist because that's how you expand them. So, but if you don't have to use seed pods, I use them because they suit my specific need. If you're just a homeowner, you want to grow yourself a nice Coleus plant, or say you bought a dozen of these and you want to make a dozen of these nice little Coleus pots for whoever, you can get potting mixture. Get a good quality potting mixture. I can't stress that enough. Spend a little extra money. Get Miracle Grow or equivalent moisture potting mixture, moisture control, or the regular Miracle Grow potting mixture. Don't get topsoil. Don't get the cheap dollar store stuff. But for the best results, I like to use the Miracle Grow. It has the vermiculite mixed in, and a lot of times it has a little fertilizer mixed in already, and it's good stuff, especially when you're sowing seeds. Or they also sell seed mixture, which is a very, very fine potting soil. If you're only making a few pots, then you can get a little bag, a 5-pound bag. It's very, very fine, fluffy seed mixture. It's a soil, but it's very, very fine, and it really makes seeds, gives the seeds a real extra jump start. But Coleus seeds are really, they don't need much coaxing once you properly plant them and you provide them with the three basics. So get yourself your pot. So we're going to do this based on making a little pot. Number one thing, fill up your pot with soil. Pre-moisten the soil. Make sure your pot has drain holes. Pre-moisten the soil. Make sure you water the soil well. Don't saturate it, but soak, make sure it's well watered. Let it drain down. Make sure it's moist. The reason why you want to do that is once we drop the seeds on here, you don't want to water after, because then the seed get washed away, because you're basically going to try to plan where your plant's going to be. So here, this is a small pot. I might put 2 Coleus in this. So I might want to put one here, or one in the center, or whatever, because they're going to be a bigger Coleus. So this pot, no bigger than 2, and this is about the diameter of a coffee cup. So 2 Coleus seeds for this. Okay, the number one reason why people who plant their Coleus from seed, the number one reason why they don't get Coleus why their plants don't grow or the seeds don't germinate is because they bury their seeds. Most people think you're planting a plant by seed. The seed needs to be buried in the soil. And that's true on most seeds, most plants. And I advise you, whatever plant you're growing from seed, whether it's coleus, daisies, ornamental flowers, butterfly tree, anything like that, read up on the seeds, read the label. It'll tell you how deep to bury the seed, or whether or not the seed should be buried or not. Coleus seeds are not to be buried. The light is what is very important. So what you do with coleus seeds is you drop them on the top of the pre-moistened soil. Remember that. When you grow your seeds, do not bury them. So what I usually do is I keep a little moist napkin here, and I kind of look at the seeds, and you know what? They're very tiny, but you know what? I kind of look at them all, and I try to look, see if we can zoom in even better here. I think I can get that zoom in. I kind of look at all the seeds over, and I kind of look to see which one maybe looks the strongest, the biggest, the largest. That doesn't mean it's going to be the largest coleus, but I kind of really look. And a good symmetrical round seed, like something like that, maybe I wouldn't choose because it has like a little chafe. It looks a little odd. So I look and I choose a nice round seed. And I'll wet my finger and I'll put it on my finger. Okay, so here we go. Hold on. You got your coleus seed on your finger. And again, in this type of pot, I would not put more than 2. However, you're going to drop it in general. Make sure it's in the soil. And you know, I'm filming here, so I'm sort of by the camera. I'm generally looking. I'll see where it's very hard. I mean, they're very tiny, so I know it dropped. And you gently pat it down and anchor it in the soil. Make sure when you lift your finger up that the seed didn't stick back on your finger. And then you go and do the next one. Gently pat it down. Okay, now I said no more than 2. What you can do, if you know, obviously you have a lot of seeds here. What you can do, because you do have a lot of room here, and when the coleus start to first germinate, they're going to be tiny. You can put more in if you like. So I said it's good to keep to really keep this at like 2 coleus. You can put 4 in here, seeds. I put one in the center, pat down, and I'll go around and pat down. Do not water now. Do not water. Get yourself some saran wrap. You can either put a rubber band around it or leave it like this here. That does a few things. It creates a sort of like an ecosystem. Maintains the water, the moisture. And you're going to see after a few hours, this is going to get wet. You'll see the moisture on here. Keep this saran wrap and put this either by, if you have one of those mini greenhouses with the grow light, that would be an excellent suggestion. Or by a bay window that gets bright sun. Doesn't have to be direct sun. Well, but just watch that also. If you do have a bright sunny window and this is sitting in sun, you want to make sure it doesn't evaporate the moisture. So the ideal thing that has is a grow light, a full spectrum grow light, or a bright window, with indirect sun. Keep this on until you start to see the germinations. And it may take a little while, but you'll see the little germinations start to sprout. once they sprout, after it may take about a week, I get pretty good results with my seeds, and within 5 or 6 days, I'll actually see them start to germinate. Give them some time to germinate. Wait until you actually see the germinations. They'll be tiny like this. Once you start to see them germinate, gently, don't remove this, but gently move the plastic off like that to get some air moving in there. Once that happens, however, you need to be a little more careful with the moisture. So keep an eye on the moisture, especially if where you keep this plant or this pot is near a heat register or by sun. This won't take long to dry out. And if you don't watch the water on it and it dries out, you're going to lose your germinations. And I'm trying not to make it sound difficult. It's not, but just keep an eye. And that's why I like to use the moisture retention, good quality Miracle Grow potting mixture and so forth, because it has vermiculite and so forth, and it has material in it that maintains the water, so the soil is less apt to dry out, but it's not a guarantee. If you're not sure, just put a little dabs of a little bit of water around where the germinations are, but don't overwater either. But loosen this off, gets the oxygen moving, and the grow light will do the rest. You don't have to fertilize because this has fertilizer in it already. Do not fertilize this early. The little ears, the little cotyledons, they are the fertilizer for the main plant. They have the little radar dish that brings in the photosynthesis, that brings in the chemical reaction that feeds the plant, that gets it growing for the true leaves, which comes on later. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Purpose of this video, before we close out, remember, number one, just keep in mind how small the Coleus seeds are and the pot that you're growing them in. Don't be misled with these tiny seeds and put 15 or 20 seeds in this little pot, because they're going to overwhelm you later, and you're going to end up having to toss them out. You're going to have to pick them out. You can overseed these. I do that. I can overseed a pot like this and put maybe 8 or 9 in here. And then what I'll do is pick out the ones that are like the runts and keep the ones that are the strongest, because I have an abundance of seeds. So you can do that. That's just another strategy, if you want to say. And that's how you sort of pick out the strongest plant. And I do that now. Remember, I grow about 500 or 600 Coleus, so I will overseed and do just that. But for purposes of a homeowner or follower that you just want to plant a dozen or 2 Coleus or what have you, don't overseed too much. Try to space your seeds out. That way, when the plants do grow, and I'm talking about a month from now, when they start to get, they're really juvenile plants, you can maybe say, all right, I'm going to thin this out. I'm going to put it down to 3 and choose the least, the more sickly looking, or the ones that maybe don't look the strongest. And that's really how it's done. So remember, don't bury your seeds, pre-moisten your soil, drop your seeds in a spacing, gently tap them down. That anchors the seed in the soil without burying it. Cover and light up with the grow light. Full spectrum. If you're going to use a grow light, make sure it's a full spectrum grow light. LED, I like LEDs. Unless you have one already, then you know how to use it. And you'll see these start to germinate within a week. All right, everybody, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I think it's pretty informative. It's really the #1 question I get, and the #1 reason why people's Coleus fail. And people might not come right out and say it. They'll just say, oh, I've never had any luck with my Coleus seed. You know, I plant them and they didn't germinate and so forth. It's the #1 reason why, and it's an easy mistake. I mean, it's understandable. It's a general, people think seed, you got to bury it. Coleus seeds don't have to be buried. So, all right, so this came out pretty nice. Go to Jim's Coleus on eBay, get your seeds, Store them if you're not going to be planting them till February or so forth, depending on where you live. They'll keep fine. They're good. Again, they're good up to 5 years. But again, I don't sell any. I sell seeds that are a year from the actual season. So Jim's Coleus on eBay. You'll be getting this envelope in the mail with your Coleus seeds. Really beautiful Coleus. Most of the Coleus that I feature on my channel. Then you can follow along. I have plenty of videos that I've done over the years that you can look at on how to use the Jiffy pods and so forth, and how to grow them from seeds. You can actually watch those over the fall and winter, and that way when it comes spring, you'll have all the information you have to grow beautiful Coleus along with me, and you can share them with me. Join me on Instagram. You can send me photos. If you have any questions, problems on how to grow Coleus or so forth, Instagram is the best way. You can leave a comment here on YouTube, of course. Instagram is a great place. You can send me photos. I have followers that have been following me for years. Raymar, Brooklyn from Canada, great friends. They're always sending me photos of their Coleus and so forth. And it's great because I see the plants, the seeds that I send them, and I see their plants growing. It's sort of like watching my children. So without having to say goodbye to them. But all right, so thanks for following along, everybody. I hope this really helps out. I'll have a lot of fun. We start growing some Coleus in February of 2023, and we'll have a lot of fun together. So all right, so thanks everybody. Stay tuned. We'll always keep everything. We're always going to be thinking of something else to post to help you guys out, get us through the fall and winter. All right, everybody, have a great weekend or week. It's a week. It's Monday. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone.